Yeah, should be pretty quick. I'm looking up. Let's see.
Okay, well, actually, we should start this off with a prayer. Do you want me to say it, or do you want to say it? It says to.
You're the boss. You're the group leader this week, so whatever you want.
Okay, do you want to say it, and then we'll just go, I guess?
Sure. Our Father in heaven, we're thankful for this day, and we're thankful for this opportunity we have to meet together and to discuss this case. And please help us so that we can enlighten each other and learn more and increase our understanding about what's going on and what we can learn from this. And we ask for these things in thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Okay. So first off, we're just supposed to talk about like kind of a quick synopsis of the case, what happened in it, which was pretty nice. It was a short one, so
yeah.
Okay, so really the thing I saw was they promoted this guy. He did really well at what he was doing. Then when they promoted him, he tried to change the environment, I guess, of what they work in. With like really degrading people as they, I don't know, take their jobs. Do you have anything to add to that?
Sorry, what was that?
Do you have anything to add that you want to, anything that really stuck out to you on this case?
Well, I thought it was a really short case. But I think what stuck out to me the most was kind of like the leadership styles that are good and some that are bad. I guess they're not really styles. They're more of it's kind of just bad leadership. And so a few things just kind of stuck out to me, but it was the way that that York kind of talked about his employees and his group. I would say that's probably like the main thing that stuck out to me. I was kind of shocked at the way that he handled things. So.
Yeah. Okay. So what? Sorry, I'm just supposed to ask these general questions, and there's only you to answer them. Okay. So it asks why this is important. I can answer this one because there's only me. But this, like, what he was doing was obviously like very degrading, so they wouldn't want to work for him. I wouldn't want to work for him if he was gonna, publicly like degrade me in front of in a huge meeting for our company.
Yeah.
So I mean, that kind of takes away the effectiveness. If I don't want to work for him, I'm not going to be as effective at my job. And assuming that I'm probably not the only person, that the whole group would really suffer from that.
Yeah, definitely. It's terrible for the morale. I played football for 11 years, and so a lot of like the team kind of stuff is extremely relevant to workplace kind of thing. It's a little different because on the team it's a little bit more tough love, especially with certain types of coaches. They don't have time to pull everyone aside and privately coach them or critique them on things. So sometimes you kind of get called out in front of the group, and everyone goes into that knowing that, and you're a team, and at the end they just have your best interest at mind. But it's interesting to see the similarities and the differences between kind of what works for a team, like a sports team, what I guess those things that couldn't work for a workplace. And calling out your team like that publicly is definitely not one of those things that would work for a workplace environment, and in some cases may not even work for a football team. It can do damage to team morale in both places and kind of create some resentment for the leadership by the people that are being led. So I think if it was just a meeting with him and his team, there's no one else, then that would have been more appropriate for him to kind of rip into them a little bit. But ultimately, I thought a good leader needs to do it privately, but also take accountability himself, whether or not it was his fault or not. Say, yeah, you guys need to do better. I'm going to do better at this and this as well. You're going to get a lot more respect that way from those who you lead. So
yeah. So Mary, the leader, his boss, I guess, it asks what role she has in establishing the culture of Derby Foods. Obviously, I think she kind of like really sets that tone, the entire culture, right? Because everyone, she's everyone's boss's boss or whatever she is. And so I think how she supports the culture is because so she had this meeting with him, or she was going to have this meeting with him to kind of be like, hey, probably shouldn't do that. And like you said, I mean, she pulled him aside. She didn't do it in the meeting when he was being really hard on his people, his team. She didn't call him out right there in front of everybody. So I think she didn't in just that alone, she really kind of set this up for him to learn, hopefully, that he needs to do, not publicly.
Yeah, definitely. There's a time and place, whether he's right or not in what he said. It definitely wasn't right to say it in that setting. So.
Yes. Okay, and so then it asks how Simon York is working against the culture. So I would say he's pretty inconsistent, like how everyone else is doing it, and then he's doing his own thing over here, very publicly, so everybody knows that he's doing it this way.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, and then so another question is, asks how Mary should approach this discussion, what she should kind of start off with, the meeting. So.
Sorry, what was that? I didn't catch that last part.
It asks how Mary should approach this discussion that she's having with York.
Yeah, it's definitely got to be. I mean, even someone like York, you can't full on just go attack in attack mode. And she's got to kind of pull him aside privately. Are we talking about after the little public showing that he had?
It's talking about, so she called him in for the meeting, how she should kind of start that meeting off, how she should go into that meeting. She just, obviously, like you said, she doesn't want to go into the attack mode. Once he walks into her office in their private, whatever, she doesn't want to go into the attack mode. She needs to be kind of.
Yeah, definitely needs to be tactful. And just kind of, I'm a big believer in laying out the expectations beforehand, because I've learned you have to be very clear with people, with certain people especially. You have to be very clear in what you expect from them. Otherwise, they'll just kind of do their own thing and kind of go rogue, I guess. So you have to make expectations extremely clear for some certain people, what you expect from them, what you want them to do, how you want them to handle themselves. So establishing expectations, I think, is half the battle when, I guess, for lack of a better word, controlling people. So.
Okay. And then, so obviously some key things just covered in this is like you said, her expectations of him in this new position, because he didn't, I don't know, I guess he didn't learn from the example of the previous guy. I don't know if it mentioned his name, but who he replaced, because he didn't do it correctly. So what are the most effective methods Mary can use to make this discussion productive? So I think that the book we were reading, The Speed of Trust, there were sections in it. I can't recall them right now, but I mean, when he was in the meeting with the merger or whatever, he was like, okay, let's talk about this. What do you guys give me your questions and let's answer it so we can actually do something later. So I think that's kind of how she needs to go into it, and that's how she needs to make this discussion productive, because obviously with only the two of them, she needs, because he at the end thought he was doing a very good job and he was just setting a high bar for the company and his team, but to everybody else, that's not how that looked. So she should, be like, well, okay, so that's what you think. Well, this is what we saw, kind of thing. So.
Yeah, I get what you're trying to do. I understand, and I like the high standard, but that's, let's think of some other ways to establish those expectations to those below you. So.
Well, and he also didn't see anything wrong. I remember it said in the production. He called it the production glitch. He was glad he had fixed it before it got out of hand. Like, he saw nothing wrong with him going down to the production line and just yelling at everybody and getting super mad at all of them. So that's probably a problem, because I wouldn't want to work for that. So
Yeah.
okay, so that was our recommendations. Okay, so what principles, if any, did we learn from reading this case?
I would say kind of the same thing. Just establishing expectations and being tactful in the way that you correct people. We learned a lot about that on the mission, in like leadership meetings and stuff. Like, just if a missionary does something that he's not supposed to do, there's a certain way that you need to go about handling it so that that missionary doesn't get on the defensive, or you're kind of on the mission. It was all about showing them that you love them, and that goes a long way. So that can apply in the workplace too. I would say that the main principle is just tact in the way that you handle things in the workplace so that you don't lose morale at work.
Yep. Okay, well, that's pretty much, we covered all of it. I guess because there's just two of us, we don't have a huge discussion going.
Yeah, if there's three more, then it would probably be longer.
Yeah, make a difference. Okay, so the other thing that we need to cover is the other weeks for group lessons, the leader sign up sheet that I get to cover. And so obviously you can have first pick for these. If there's a lesson that you want to do, I don't know if you can do next week. Maybe I should do it again. I don't know. So would you be okay doing next week? Can I put you in for that?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. So I'll put you in there, and then I guess since we have next week's covered, that's my main concern would be next week. I'll just email everybody. I'll make it a Google Doc, and so they can all go in and fill it out. There's only 9 group meetings for this semester, so we have 1 done, and next week that's you. So that'll only leave 7 left between the 5 of us. So I'll just email that to you, and you can fill it out. Choose whatever lessons you want, and hopefully everybody else will sign up so we can email that to him, and he'll know who's supposed to be in charge.
Cool. Sounds good.
Well, good job, I guess. Thanks for joining me in this meeting.
Yeah, no problem. I was I remembered about group meetings and stuff. I was kind of busy with other classes, and then luckily this week was our first group meeting, but I kind of freaked out for a second because I completely forgot about it last week. So
okay, and then for time next week, does Friday nights, what nights work best for you, just so we can kind of get an idea?
Earlier in the week, weekends are pretty busy. So yeah, I would say I don't know, Tuesday, Wednesday night is probably best.
Okay, can we do Wednesday night? Because Tuesday night's the night we turn in the case, so that's the night I'm normally writing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we can do Wednesday.
So yeah, can we just plan for Wednesdays? Because I don't know if anybody else will even join us, but let's just plan for Wednesday nights. And I know you can decide time since you're going to be group leader next week.
Cool. Sounds good.
All right. Awesome. Thank you.
All right.